Hey, Steve Basic Architect for the Build Show Network. We're out here at the Riverside Project. We got framing started. Exciting part, right? You went through, you saw all the videos about the ICF. Here you can see we have our Advantech subfloor down, but I wanted to talk about a few of the specific aspects of the floor frame today. So you can see there's a recess here. So basically what you're looking at is this gets framed out in LVLs. It's dropped about 6 inches down. I'm standing where the future front door will be. And the reason for the recess is that allows us to waterproof that entry. We're going to do a nice stone pad inside there. And the ceiling of that entry will come out above and the roof beyond. So that's kind of your front porch, if you will. Recessed entry. As we move around the floor frame here, you'll see the big hole here. The big hole there is the stair frame or the stair rough opening for what will be the stair. So it still needs to have some finished cuts, but you can basically get a sense of the LVLs and how they're framing out the stair opening. The stair is a switchback stair, which means it goes down to a landing, switches back direction, and goes down to the floor below or the floor above. As we come over here, you can see some of the framing is still left open. We're going to talk about that specifically in another video, but you can see we use the Triforce open joist system. We have an 1.125" Advantech here. You can see the remnants of the adhesive here. So everything gets glued down, screwed down. And then over here, you can see there's a slight depression in the floor. What you're basically looking at there is that's the shower inside the master bedroom or inside the owner's suite. And it'll have a curbless edge to it. So we have to actually build that depression in the floor frame so we can set the shower down. And by the time we build up the subsequent layers, we're flush with that floor above. So let's jump back to the studio. We'll break out the framing plan. We'll look at some of these special conditions in detail. We'll break out Big Red, and we'll have some fun back at the studio. I'll see you there.
Well, welcome back to the studio, everybody. You know, I like being here in the studio. I'm an architect, obviously, but I love sitting behind the desk. But man, I love walking job sites and just chatting it up. So I printed out some drawings here. Let's look at my floor framing plans, and we'll talk about a few of the details and the information that I try and transfer there. So let's have at it. Got my good friend Big Red, got my new shirt on. Let's have at some details. All right, everybody. So you can see there the floor framing plan down there, and just about fits on the camera, but you can see the house is basically Z-shaped, right? You can see over here, these are the bedroom wings. Basically the floor joists span in that direction, and then pretty much for that whole section, you can see the floor joists span in that direction. And we walked around, we have a beam line there and a beam line there, and we took the time to stop. There's that little depression, so you can see it gets framed out with a series of LVLs, and then it has little mini floor joists that are dropped down in that depression there. We also talked about the stair opening. You can see there's the LVL beams there. This one actually goes all the way across. And then we have an LVL beam there and one there. So that's pretty much making up for that stair opening. And then lastly, we have this LVL beam line here with some associated framing, but that's basically that drop section for the shower that we dropped in there. You know, from the last video there, we talked about we're using the Triforce. These are trimmable floor joists, and if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. We talk about some of the specs of that, and you can see those are you know, you can see it laid out there. Those are 16 inches on center. So we have that laid out. So every 16 inches we pull the joist. And I like to draw the joist as the full web member. So you can see there we draw the full 3.5 inches. So we know exactly what we're dealing with there. And we call it out, right? 11 7/8 open joist trimmable floor joist, 16 inches on center, 11 7/8 inch deep with an 1.125" Advantech floor sheathing. We also talked about that on that last video, so go check it out. Couple things. Notice we call for the solid blocking running down the midspan here. You can see that that's called out there. But the other thing too, because these are trimmable, we predetermined, talking with the builder, the client, which side did we want to put the trimmable ends on. So I wanted to be able to transfer that information to the builder and the framer. So you can see here we call out the trimmable end of the floor joist this side, but you can see there's a dashed line here. So we know that the trimmable side is over here for those floor joists. As we go through here, you can see there's the dashed lines there. So we know that for these, the trimmable is that side. For this span in here, again, trimmable is that side, and then we finish it so that these are trimmable on that side. So all that information, there's nothing left to chance. It's all spelled out on the drawings, even what side we want to trim these on. And you can see here, these are actually there too. So they get called out. Let me bring in a secondary drawing here, because what I basically did was I captured this area and blew it up so we can see it a little bit more in detail here. Let's register that page there, but you can see what's happening there. We actually call out the 2 3/4 by 11 7/8 inch LVL, so they're dimensionally similar to our floor joists. And again, we draw those out. So together that's 3.5 inches, but each one is 1 3/4 inch thickness that make that up. And again, called out there. But the other thing to understand is we call it out as being flush. And what I mean by flush is that the top of that LVL and the top of these floor joists are synonymous, meaning that it is a flush top. If I wanted it to be below, it would be called out as a dropped system. And you can see right there on these here, those are actually called out as dropped there and there. So those are beams that are riding underneath the floor joists. These are beams that are riding inside that floor joist framing system. And the reason for that is because we're trying to get this as a drop down section here, because that is the shower in the owner's bathroom. So we're going to have that as a curbless shower. So the ability to do that means that this whole area that makes up the shower has to become a depressed area, right? So that you're floor framing and then you have that depressed area there. So that way there you can build up the shower and get your drain and such in, but you maintain this flush condition at the around the perimeter there so that you don't have any barriers to the entry of the shower. It's a flush condition there. So, and then we infill, you can see, because this is such a small span, we don't want to obviously fill it with 11 7/8 because dropping it down means that it has to be something shallower. So I just do call out 2 by 8, 12 inches on center, and we throw that in there. So, and then here you can see there's the note on the midspan blocking, solid blocking, and then here is the note that we talked about on the larger drawing where, again, calling out this is the trimmable end of those floor joist systems, and then calling out where we have our engineered wood band. Over here, I didn't think I talked about it in this video, but because we're parallel, you can see there's our floor trusses there. But because this band is actually parallel and not perpendicular, I always call it out as being a double band. So that way there, when we put a wall on top of it, our compressing strength is actually greatly enhanced 2 times, if you will, because we put the double band on all the parallel sides. Anyways, so that's a introduction to the initial floor framing plan. Again, still a whole lot to talk about on this house, some specifics here and there, and we'll get into it. But as for now, that's our initial floor framing plan. All right, Big Red came here, conquered, and we're done. So that's the start of the floor framing. We got a lot to go on this house. We got a ton of stuff to talk about. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you are too. If you're looking for more, you can find me on all those social media outlets: Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. I'm out there, Steve Baczek Architect. Go find it. If you're looking for more right here, Build Show Network, literally hundreds of videos alongside all of my esteemed colleagues there, putting out great information. This is stuff that we're doing every day. It's current, it's live. Go check it out. Ton of stuff. Love watching all my buddies at work. And then lastly, Peter Yost and Jake and I, Unbuild It Podcast. We talk about building. And that's on all the audio channels, and you can find us on YouTube there too. So go check it out. But until next time, that's it for Build Show Network this week. So until next time, long live our buildings.